In this video, we have a more in-depth analysis on Dojo Gloria and Urshifu. So she's a Pokefair, water attack, weak to electric. For stats, she has very high HP, very good attack, decent speed, defense with defense, okay. For passive, she has Punishing Strike 9, basically -1 defense every time you attack. If it's Surging Strikes, you -3 because Surging Strikes hits 3 times, right? Which is really nice, so you can get your opponent to -6 defense in 2 moves, which is really strong. And then she has Recharging Strike 4, 50% chance to +1 gauge every time you hit. Same thing as the first passive, Surging Strikes hits 3 times, so every hit has a 50% chance of gaining back a move gauge, which is very useful. I don't really have to worry too much about gauge, since if you use Surging Strikes, there's a 87.5% chance to get back at least 1 gauge. So that's cool. Next one, we have Critical Sync. This is a really good passive. Your sync move will crit every single time, which is gonna be very nice. You don't have to worry about not hitting the sync. But for the moves, she has Surging Strikes. Basically, you hit 3 times in a row, and then the good thing is that you don't need crit support, because this move will crit every single time. Next up, we have Iron Head, 30% chance to flinch. For some steal DPS, you can do some steal DPS, post combat, some fighting DPS as well, but you -1 defense and split defense every time you hit. Trainer move, Flow Like Water. 2 users, you -1 single countdown, you +3 attack. So if you have like a sync pair that can -1 single countdown, and then you pair with Gloria, you can get a total of -3 single countdown, right? Because you get -2 from the trainer move, you -1 more from another trainer, right? So maybe you have like Sickness of Lusamine or something. That's a bad example because Sickness of Lusamine doesn't pair well with Gloria, but you get the point. She has the trainer move that can reduce single countdown. You can pair like someone with someone like that, and then you can sync in just 2 turns, right? Which is 6 individual turns, which would be quite useful. Or you can play like this. You can use the trainer move once on the first sync cycle, and then you can use it again on the second sync cycle, so you can guarantee the second sync before your opponent uses the first sync, right? So you can queue up your moves more efficiently. You don't have to worry about not quite queuing properly, right? So she has max move, which is quite nice. So you can do some like extra damage, right? G-Max Rapid Flow, basically this move will always crit. You also have max steel spikes for some steel damage, +2 defense, can be useful, depends. Max Knocker, +2 attack. Yeah, +2 attack is kind of useless because you can buff attack anyways, but you know, dealing with like fighting weak stages, this is pretty good for some damage. Same move with Rapid Mastery, Water Impact. The lower your target's defense, the more damage you do, which is very easy to do. Just use Surging Strikes 2 times to get to -6 defense. Overall, for base kit, she can do really good damage with Surging Strikes and Sync. And being able to debuff as well, defense is very useful. And you can debuff in 2 turns, that is like crazy, right? So let's move on to the sync rate. So 1 out of 5, you get Surging Strikes, Iron Head, and Close Combat MGR 3, which is quite nice, but you already have an innate 50% chance to gain move gauge, right? But if it's 1 out of 5, you can go ahead and just pick them all, right, for some more speed management. But once you get to higher move level, you don't need them anymore, since like I said, it's already in the passive. 2 out of 5, you get Quick Kill, quite nice. Racing Rain 2, again, you already have MGR. Speed isn't really an issue, it shouldn't be an issue. You have MPTR 2 for trainer move, very useless because you max get attack anyways. Then you also have Aggravation 1, quite nice. For some flinching, 60% chance of flinch. Now 3 out of 5, she gets a lot of good stuff. You have Insult to Injury and Relentless. Insult to Injury for your regular moves, Relentless for sync move. And then to do more damage, you just debuff the defense for both of these passive, which is kinda crazy. A lot of damage. You also have Tripping Strike 9, this is really good. It's basically Punishing Strike 9 but for speed debuff. So you can -6 speed and -6 defense in 2 hits, in 2 moves, right? Crazy stuff, very crazy stuff. And she pairs up really well with Nessa because Nessa has Cakewalk and Relentless. So she can easily max out the multiplier and do insane damage for Nessa. Hunter's Instinct, pretty good. More damage, easy to set up if you have Tripping Strike 9 as well. You have Stacking Strike 9, this can be useful, especially in Gauntlet where you don't bring crit support, right? And then if you plan to use Steel and Fighting DPS, right? If it's 1 DPS, you really don't need this since it's gonna crit anyways. Your Sync is gonna crit, your Max Move is also gonna crit. So if it's for water weak stage, you don't need crit buff. Adrenaline 1 can be useful. Endurance can be useful. Max double down 3 for some damage, but not really necessary, right? It's only one use, might as well just take like other passive that, you know, utilizes the regular moves more often. So I have 4 builds to show you guys. First one is Surging Strikes, or you can consider this as a debuff build as well, with Dripping Strike 9 debuff and Hunter's Instinct for some damage, Insult to Injury Relentless for some damage as well. Or if you want, you can sacrifice, if you don't plan to sync with her, you can sacrifice this, take Cure, right? Something like this. You just take like more power-ups, something like this. It's up to you. Next up we have Nuke with Relentless, 2 sync node for some very big sync damage. And again, very easy to activate, right? Just use the Strikes 2 times. Next up we have Iron Head DPS, substitute DPS. Sadly, not enough energy to go to the top left corner here, so just take Stacking Strike 9 for some crit buff. And of course, Aggravation 1, very useful, right? 60% chance to flinch. Next up we have Close Combat, basically pretty much the same thing, with Insult to Injury and Quick Cure, right, to access this one. Stacking Strike 9, max crit, and some power up for some pretty good, really good actually, fighting DPS. For both Iron Head and Close Combat, you do need to use Surging Strikes 2 times before you start spamming your Steel and Fighting type DPS, right? Since you need to get it to -6 defense, and then to activate this Insult to Injury for some big damage, which isn't a problem. 2 times isn't a big deal, it's really quick. So let's compare DPS, water DPS between Gloria and 2 other water techs, Nessa and Mei. So for Gloria, she has Hunter's Instinct and Insult to Injury for multiplier. Nessa has Hollow Stage 2, Raging Rain 3 and Hunter's Instinct. Mei has nothing more multiplier in the grid, but she does have 2 in the passive. So let's look at the damage. So you can see Gloria does like crazy damage. Like actually crazy damage. And it's without rain, right? It is without rain. I'll show the damage with rain later, it's a 50% increase. But yeah, Surging Strikes, Hunter's Instinct and Insult to Injury, these 2 are very easy to set up. Just use Surging Strikes 2 times, very easy. For Nessa, she has Restrain Power Up 5 in the passive, Hollow Stage 2 and Raging Rain 3 in the grid. For Restrain, she has Jaw Lock to Restrain, quite easy. Rain, you do need another rain support like Mei or Winona, right? For Mei, she has Raging Rain 5 and Dizzying Power. Rain is easy to set up, she can set up Rain herself. Dizzying Power, quite difficult because on the roll doesn't make your multi-water debuff 400% of the time. So that kinda sucks, so you might have to rely on another synchro that can debuff accuracy. Now if you include Rain, Gloria does like, this is like nuke level damage in Rain, right? Since I've already compared Nessa and Mei with Rain, it's only fair if I add Rain to Gloria. And Gloria is quite easy to like pair out with other sync pairs, right? You can pair out with like Sickness of Grimsty, because she does like physical damage, right? And Gloria can debuff the defense, so it works. Also, Nessa and Mei will be more difficult to build a team around because they are less self-sufficient, not like Gloria. Gloria can max attack easily. For Nessa, you do need physical buffers and crit buffers. For Mei, you do need crit buffers and special attack buffers, so that kinda sucks, but the damage are still pretty good as well. Now let's convert this to per gauge. There's no reason to compare that, but I just put the stats since all 3 moves are 3 gauge anyway, so just look at the number or whatever. And yeah, let's move on to comparing sync damage. So for Gloria, she has Relentless for the sync multiplier, which is the exact same multiplier as her innate sync. For Nessa, she has Shower Power 5, Cakewalk, and Relentless. That is 3, that is already 250% multiplier. Including her innate one, that's 350% multiplier. It's insane. Mei has Hide and Sync from the grid. So this is the damage. I believe Nessa is the highest, has the highest sync nuke in the game right now. And she has -6 defense and -6 speed as the multiplier, which Gloria can easily help her with. She also has Rain, so you need a Rain support. Restrain, she can restrain with Jaw Lock. And this damage is insanely high. Like I said, I think the highest in the game right now. Crazy. Gloria also pretty high damage. Relentless, like I said previously, she has 2 -6 defense multiplier thing. Quite easy to set up. For Mei, the -6 accuracy is gonna suck a bit since, like I said, on a roll 1, 60% chance to debuff accuracy. Not that reliable. But then Rain is easy, she can summon Rain. Now let's include Rain for Gloria. Even with Rain, Gloria can outdamage Nessa, sadly. Nessa's damage is insane. That actually insane. But yeah, Gloria's nuke damage is still insane as well. Very high. Anything above 100k is crazy high. So should you summon Gloria and Urshifu? Yes and no. So for yes, she does a lot of stuff. Very high nuke, high DPS. She can do some steal and fighting DPS as well. She has max move for some, again, more damage. Debuff defense. You can debuff speed at 3 out of 5. Can max her own attack, no need crit. Support for water DPS, water nuke. Can flinch and 2 out of 5. No, because her anniversary is very soon and water type is already saturated with very good sync pairs. So you don't really need her. But again, it's up to you. If you like her, summon her, whatever. So what move level should you aim if you plan to summon her? 1 out of 5, 3 out of 5 is fine. 2 out of 5 grid kinda sucks. You only get like aggravation, and that's really the only good thing for her. 1 out of 5 you get good DPS, good nuke, defense debuff. Very nice. For 3 out of 5, you have even higher nuke, even higher DPS, can debuff speed as well. Can buff own crit for steal and fighting DPS, quite useful for Kailux.